Many things can stifle your creativity as a creator, but really anyone can be subject to burnouts, life events decreasing the time and focus you could spend in one particular craft. Sometimes we just fall out of love with the way that we were applying our creativity before, and we just don't know how to reapply that to something else. Today we're going to talk about the shift in the way you are applying your creativity that is going to save you time, it's going to make you better, and it's going to help you overflow with creativity in a way that you've never felt before. Now, my name is Dorian Wills. I'm an independent artist. I do studio work for hire, and I'm often traveling with the band that I'm in, doing a ton of live shows. But above all else, I'm all about mastering my creativity through productivity or by any means necessary. Now, there's always been this idea of artists and their first work, the first thing they release to the world, that seems sometimes to be their most impactful or their best work. Now, I've always felt this way. I thought I've always heard this. So, of course, I went to Google, I went to the forums. Now, I wanted to see, is this something really based in reality? A lot of people felt this way. This is still a way of thinking. Of course, there is a lot of pushback. But why is this even a thing in the first place? You have your whole life to write your first album and 18 months to write your second. Elvis Costello. First works are filled with passion, grit, and purpose that are so hard to replicate once you start to feel comfortable in your expertise. I want to give you an example of something a bit more scientific and less objective than before. So there was a study done in 1930 by Gestalt psychologist Carl Duncker, and it's called the candle problem. So for the sake of saving a bit of time, let me give you the overall gist of what the test was. What they did to both control groups is give them some matches, a book of thumbtacks, and a candle. The whole idea was fasten the candle to the wall without the wax dripping on the table below. Now, the interesting thing is one group was given the thumbtacks in the box, and another group was given the thumbtacks on the side with the box almost given as a tool. The idea was that the people who were given the box with the thumbtacks already in it didn't understand how to use the box as a particular tool. Or the people who were given the thumbtacks on the side, it was much easier for them to solve the problem of putting the candle in the box, using the thumbtacks to fasten the box to the wall, then lighting the candle. Now, the people who had the box of thumbtacks didn't understand that the box was a tool. So what they already knew, their perceived level of expertise, got in the way of solving that problem creatively. So if time doesn't automatically increase our expertise, what does? Well, what we're talking about today is actually why forgetting your expertise might be the breakthrough you're needing to get to your next creative success. Some of the issues we have now as experts is we sometimes believe we're above criticism. We believe we haven't much more to learn. We feel the pressure of reproducing our earlier work, our early successes, because ultimately that has defined us up until a particular point. And sometimes going pro loses the passion we once had when we were just doing it for the love of it, knowing now that we are getting paid for our successes and all eyes are on us now to reproduce and to produce at a consistent level. And this isn't just experts and masters at the craft. If you're thinking that maybe you're not an expert or a master, so this isn't my issue. No, I believe a lot of people just with an above average knowledge at a particular craft, or sometimes no knowledge at all, often fall into these ideas and these truths that they start to believe about who they are and how they're producing something that is putting a block on them. Now that we know the problem, let's talk about this prescription. When I first started making music, I got my method down to a science. I would start with the melody, add the drums. I would do that about 4 times. So I'd have about 4 loops to choose from. Out of one of those, I knew that I could get inspired enough to write a song to, pit the both, mix them together, mash them together, send it out to friends or people I was at the time looking to for some kind of guidance on making music and getting better. And it was a great method that was working for me until I got to a kind of plateau or to a point where I wasn't making the things anymore that was in my head. I couldn't figure out how to reproduce that. So I had my way of working. I loved working with the melody first because that's just what I felt as a singer worked best for me. But it wasn't until I challenged the way that I was doing things that I started to really break through that plateau. Something as simple as starting with the drums allowed me to control the rhythm, control the pace of the song much better. That when I just did that alone, that started to open up ideas and open up a way of producing I wasn't privy to before. Just because I allowed myself to forget what I knew and start doing things differently to see different results. And that ultimately broke my plateau. And there are many ways I've done certain things like that when it comes to production, mixing, mastering, collaborating with people. That's always helped me move up in my skills to be able to break through these plateaus. You need to know how to change it up, do it different, and it'll grow your skills. Sometimes what you need is not always what you want. Now I want to get into the story of when I first started playing what would be an equivalent to varsity basketball here in Montreal. It was my first year. We win the championships. I get, rookie playing time, nothing crazy. But now I know we're coming back the next year, and all the rookies, we're looking at, this is our time because now we're the seniors. We're going to get the minutes. So I went away in that summer. I practiced what I thought was practicing my butt off. I was doing everything I needed to do to get better so I can guarantee myself some good playing time so we can come back and win that championship again. Now, we came back into the year. I remember this one dude, and he was good the year before. It's not no question whether he was good or not. But he came back 10 times better, and I couldn't understand what he did. He was able to graze the rim at most, just touch it a little bit. And he was coming back, pitting it through his legs, 360s, doing all these crazy dunks. And I'm like, what's going on? Even when it came to his game, he was faster. He was stronger. He was better at shooting the basketball. And I couldn't understand how I wasn't 10 times better like this guy was 10 times better. So I remember going to him, what did you do all summer? Because this doesn't make any sense. And he told me, I just hooped. I just played basketball. And I'm thinking, what? How is that what you did? Because I'm thinking I practiced my butt off and you skyrocketed what I was able to do in the whole summer. Now, if I thought a little bit deeper, I would have thought, well, he's the youngest of three. His two older brothers, they play ball as well. They got a bunch of D1 offers, and so they're way above his particular skill. So he's probably playing with them all summer, playing with his particular friends, which at that time, if you think of a gap from 15 to 19, 15 to 20, that's a large gap when you're talking about speed, agility, just the skills you have on you, right? So all summer, he was forcing himself to adapt to a higher skill level, to faster, quicker people that was inevitably making him better, which pound for pound was better than the training I was doing on air. But because I wasn't thinking any bit deeper than what he just told me, I went away not learning anything from his experience. So that's my second point. Don't kill the messenger because they might have something to offer. A lot of times we hear a lot of this bro science and we're afraid to go any bit deeper because we're thinking, but what is this based on? But experience is the best teacher. And that could be the best teacher even if you're not experiencing it yourself. Go a bit deeper because the people around you might have a lot of things they can offer and share with you that might help you get to that next level. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never read lives only once. George R.R. Martin. Now it's no secret that recreating our heroes' works is advantageous. Even if you think of a baby, as a baby, the whole idea of living our first few years is simply mimicking and copying the things we see around us. Not only until we've mimicked enough, we've copied enough, do you start to see a personality now in that child, you start to see a personality in that kid. And that comes with years of simply mimicking, right? So you have to think to yourself, as a creative, we come up mimicking the things we hear, the things we enjoy seeing being created. But somewhere along the lines as we grow up, we believe we just know it all and there's no point to mimic anymore. Well, when we get in a rut, that's exactly what we have to go back to, the basics. When you first started this thing, you were only copying what you already knew. Now, if you look at longevity in any particular craft, the idea of recreating yourself and recreating your work is pivotal in being able to do this for a long time. I gave the example of people's first albums being their most influential work. And of course, there's many examples where you'd see that's not the case. But look at those examples where that's not the case. And people who have been able to do it not just for a 1 year, 2 year span, but people were able to do it for 5, 10 year, 15 year spans. The people we know as legends, right? They recreated themselves with multiple projects. They might have had a project in between that people weren't feeling as much, or people were like, I'm not really sure about it. But that was vital and important for them to get to the place where now that third, fourth album, now that's the one. That's the one that people now reconnect with. So don't disregard breaking everything down that you know, recreating the art or even the popular art you see around you. Recreating the popular art does not now make you not creative or not as good or make you sell out. It's important to understand why the popular art in your field, why it is popular, or the popular creative way of thinking in your particular field, why that's necessary and why that's working. And only until you understand why it's working and why that might be popular, can you now take it, break it down, and now use it as your tool? Use it as an arsenal in the things you're already doing and build upon it to now break through this new level of plateau, not only for yourself, but for the art and the creative solutions that you are offering up to the world. Above all else, go create, be great.